What's up guys, Sean Nalawani, RealScienceAthletics.com, and in this video today, I'm going to be revealing to you the single best bicep exercise you can perform for building bigger, more muscular arms. Because if there's one thing lacking when it comes to YouTube fitness, clearly it's videos that discuss how to train your biceps. It's just not a subject that gets the attention it deserves, and it's definitely something that needs to be talked about more often, given just how critical bicep exercise selection really is when it comes to either achieving amazing results or absolutely killing your gains. Now, before I get started, if you're new here and you want to stay in the loop on all of my latest no BS fitness content, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. And as a thank you for watching this video, I'm also doing a giveaway down in the comment section where you can win a free bottle of Pure Form, which is the pre-workout formula from my fitness supplement line, Real Science Athletics. So just scroll down and click the link in the comments below to enter in for that. So what is the best direct bicep exercise you can do to build your arms as quickly as possible? Now, all jokes aside, hopefully most of you understood the sarcasm in that introduction, but it's pretty much any basic curling exercise that allows you to activate your biceps effectively, train them through a full range of motion, and achieve progressive overload over time in some capacity. Now, I know that's not very exciting, but my goal here is to simplify things for you down to the steps that actually matter in the real world, and not to just add extra steps that don't need to be there in order to sound unique. This is about getting you actual real world results. Find a curling exercise or two that are comfortable on your joints, that allow you to use a full range of motion, and that you can slowly and gradually add weight and reps to over time. If you do that, and you take the bulk of your sets within a rep or two of true muscular failure, okay, you do enough total volume, I'd say somewhere between about 4 to 8 direct curling sets per week, give or take. That's usually enough for most people. And you train with a high enough frequency, so directly training the biceps roughly twice a week, give or take, and then you just combine that with all of your compound pulling movements for back, and you get progressively stronger on those lifts. Okay, if you do those basic things consistently, you've essentially done the vast majority of what you need to do to maximize the growth of your biceps. And from there, genetics are going to influence just how big your arms can ultimately get, as well as what your biceps actually look like aesthetically. So whether you have shorter biceps with a taller peak, or longer biceps that are a bit flatter, or something in between, okay, despite all these bicep peak building videos that you find on YouTube, that is almost entirely a matter of genetics, and it's almost entirely outside of your control, and it's not going to change based on exercise selection or form. And so your main focus should just be on building up overall biceps mass and then allowing your genetics to take care of the rest. Yes, there are certain little form tweaks you can apply to fully optimize the tension on your biceps 100%, and some curling variations are going to be better suited to you than others, so that's something that you can experiment with. But when it all comes down to it, these things are not going to have a major impact on your bottom line bicep gains at the end of the year, and it's not something that needs to be overcomplicated and overanalyzed to death like so many of these bicep training videos on YouTube try to do.
Today, I'm going to show you 3 tips for bigger biceps.
All right, so today we're going to go over how to peak that bicep out.
There are a few key things you can do to further improve the width of your biceps.
So today I truly have the #1 tip for building bigger biceps.
Today I'm going to show you an extremely important tip about biceps training.
Today we're focusing on the bicep.
Bicep.
Bicep. Bicep.
Bicep. Motherfucking bicep.
This is just a subject that gets way overemphasized, and the reason why this endless stream of different curling variations exists on YouTube is because most beginning lifters place huge importance on the idea of building bigger biceps, and so it's an easy way for channels to get views and subscribers, even though the biceps are a relatively small and simple muscle group that don't contribute to your overall physique nearly as much as the larger muscle groups do. And then in addition to this, it's also because content creators need to keep coming up with these new variations and bicep training hacks in order to keep their existing viewers interested, because if they really told the truth about how straightforward this subject really is, they would quickly run out of things to talk about. You know, I understand the reasons for putting out these types of videos, but for the most part, it's just unnecessary information for the people who are actually consuming that content. And then aside from that, the other possible reason is because many of the content creators out there just aren't very knowledgeable in the first place, and they genuinely believe that you need 7 different bicep exercises in your plan and 15 different form tweaks in order to make any gains.
What's going on, guys? In today's video, I got 7 different bicep exercises for anybody looking to get bigger arms.
And I'm a content creator myself, and so I fully understand the reason why most people talk about arm training so often. Okay, I'm not saying this is the last arm training video I'll ever make. You know, sometimes you just have to create that type of mass appeal content to bring viewers in. so that they can then find their way to your other more impactful content. But the plain fact is that a good portion of the advice given in these videos just does not matter in the real world. And not only that, but if done to excess, then it can potentially actually be harmful in the sense that it diverts your focus away from the most important thing when it comes to building bigger biceps, which has nothing to do with which specific type of curl you perform, and instead has everything to do with achieving progressive overload on your compound pulley movements for back, because that's actually where the bulk of your bicep growth is going to come from, which I've talked about many, many times before. You know, every time you do a pull-up, a pull-down, or a row, you're performing elbow flexion, which is the primary function of the biceps. And so as you add weight to those movements over time, your biceps are going to have no choice but to consistently grow along with it. Probably something like maybe 75% as a minimum, maybe up to as high as even 90% of your net bicep growth is going to be the result of building up your strength on vertical and horizontal pulling exercises, and then your direct bicep exercises are more of an extra add-on to round out that last bit of growth. And then whatever other tiny little form cues and specific curling variations you use, that will probably account for the last few percent. So I'm not saying that experimenting with different curling variations and form tweaks, I'm not saying that that's going to have no impact at all. And I have covered tips for proper bicep curling form here on this channel and on my Instagram, and it's probably something that I'll do again at some point, since it's been years since I've discussed it. But most people get this whole thing backwards. So they think that choosing the perfect bicep exercise and twisting their pinky X degrees to the right while squeezing their biceps at the top for 1.3 seconds and then pronating their wrist while lowering the weight in 3.7 seconds at the bottom or whatever. Okay, they think that these sorts of things are what's most important for building bigger arms, when actually those tiny little tweaks are probably the least important thing. And the most important thing is just that you build a good strength foundation on compound back exercises and then perform a basic curling movement or two afterwards. It can be a simple barbell curl, an easy curl bar, seated or standing dumbbell curl, incline dumbbell curl, cable curl, preacher curl, machine curl. These are all acceptable choices at the end of the day. And if you're executing these exercises with proper form and achieving steady progression in some form, then I really don't think in the grand scheme it's going to make much of a difference which exact variations you select, especially if you're performing more than one of them. Yeah, if you only ever did one bicep exercise for the rest of your life, then maybe you might miss out on a small bit of growth. But if you're doing 2 or even 3 bicep curling variations in your program, like most people are doing, or at least rotating between different variations over time, and you're not performing them like a total moron, so your form is decent to make sure that the majority of the tension is directed to your biceps, then your bases are going to be covered as far as bicep growth is concerned. For 100% optimal growth, and this would be more important for slightly more advanced lifters where attention to detail does become more important, the only thing you might want to consider is doing one variation with your elbows positioned further back, like an incline dumbbell curl or a single arm cable curl, since that will emphasize the stretch position, and then do one with your elbows a bit further forward, maybe a preacher curl type movement, in order to emphasize the shortened position, since the bicep also performs shoulder flexion. And so as your as your elbow travels forward and more overhead, you're actually going to be able to contract the bicep more forcefully. But bottom line, guys, effective bicep training is pretty straightforward, and through a combination of proper back training and a basic curling exercise or two added in with proper form, your arms will pretty much grow to their full potential if you're training with sufficient intensity, volume, and frequency, and you're achieving progressive overload over time. And all these, super clickbaity bicep training videos plastered all over YouTube, those might be tempting to watch, but at the end of the day, most of the information in these videos, beyond the basics, just won't make a measurable difference in the real world. If you want to cut through all the fluff and get access to a free step-by-step training routine and nutrition plan to maximize your results based on your current condition, goals, and experience level, then make sure to head over to seannall.com/custom, fill out the form on that page, and I'll personally send you a customized program that you can follow. You can click up here for that, or use the link in the description box. On the supplementation side of things, you can also visit RealScienceAthletics.com to check out my science-based, no BS supplements that I personally formulated to help fully streamline your program and optimize your overall progress. And you can use coupon code YouTube15 to save 15% off your entire first order. And as always, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe below if you haven't already in order to stay up to date on future videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.